Welcome back, everybody, to this week's live episode of the DCL Duo Podcast, brought to you by My Path Unwinding Travel. And hoping that the technical difficulties we experienced last week are a little bit less. If we're still having technical difficulties, please let us know in the chat. Usually does take a minute or two for the video to clear up for whatever reason on YouTube, but let's hope that it works tonight. But with that said, in addition to thanking our show sponsor, My Path Unwinding Travel, we, of course, have to thank our fabulous friends over at the WDW magazine, the DCL magazine. We're hearing some exciting news coming soon from them. But if you have not already, head over to DCL-magazine.com right now so you can stay up to date on all the latest happenings with potentially the next edition of the DCL magazine that I think Stephanie has confirmed is coming. We're just waiting for the actual announcement at this point. Yeah.
And I think yeah.
Yep. And so head over there, DCL-magazine.com. And while you're there, check out all the fun stuff in the WDW magazine store, including the DLR magazine, the WDW magazine, the fabulous calendars that they have, all the swag. Use code DCL Duo, all caps. That's code DCL Duo, all caps. See it 10% off everything in the WDW magazine store. I have no idea what you're doing with your hands right now, Sam. You're throwing signs over there.
Off.
Or what? Oh,
10% off.
It looks like you're making a triangle. So 10
I'm trying to
is
fit both my hands in the screen. It doesn't.
Not working. Not working. All right.
Not really.
Hey, and we need to stop and pause for a minute to thank one other group of folks out there who help support the show and make it happen, make it real week to week, and that is our Patreons, our patrons. I call them Patreons.
Patreons. I say Patreons.
Yeah. And so we got to thank our patrons. This list has grown to a point where reading it on air is going to take a hot second, but I have committed to doing it. And so here we go. Starting off at our animators palettes here. Let me stop and say, for those of you who don't know what Patreon is, it is listeners who are providing financial support to this show on an ongoing basis, either monthly or annually. We have several different tiers of Patreon membership. You can head over to patreon.com/DCL Duo to show your support for the show. Here, I'm going to scroll it across the bottom of the screen.
And remember, we don't make any money off of this show. We are using the money that we receive from our sponsors and our Patreons to be able to produce this show for you. And if we have money, if we're in the black at the end of the year, we make charitable donations, generally to the UW Autism Center, which is, a charity near and dear to our hearts, and some other generally autism-related charities or Walt Disney World related charities like the Make-A-Wish Foundation, things like that.
Yep.
So just to let you know, that's what this is about.
Yes, this is all to help us defray the costs of this show. So with that, let me read our Patreons here. So we've got, starting off at our animators palette tier, Steve Elsis, his username is Steve Issues, but Steve Elsis, Dave Hale or Dave Hall, my glasses are failing me here. Sorry about that. Ashley Norton, Derek Sassman, Chris Brown, the good folks over at the Dillos Diz, Bridget Casey, Constance Presley, Lauren King, Brittany Simon, Drew Curry, and of course, Haley Curry, Dennis Keithley. Oh, sorry, we have bled into our Palo Brunch tier now with Drew and Haley Curry, Dennis Keithley, Edward Lynn, Chris Wynn, Emily Faye Abbott, Erica, Jeff Linwood, Kimberly Melchin, Sarah Reiner, Chris Braga kicks off our Palo dinner tier, Jennifer Swart, daily MTB writer, our good friend who we've not had on the show for so long, Josh Wilson.
He hasn't been sailing DCL.
Yep. Yensid Travel, our good friend Chris Warbeck, Cindy Leichner, Ann Witten, Sonia Allen, Megan Guys, Karen Tomprose, Shannon Owen, and now we're heading into our Remy Brunch tier for the discerning. Remy Brunch tier with Thomas Rogers, Sean Burns, Eric Neiman, Neiman, sorry. Cynthia Milanowski. And then we're hitting the Remy dinner tier, where we have our good friend, Mr. C.T. Sweek, Tina Peacock, David Z. Of course, we've got Robby and Jillian Abney. Oh, for some reason it took you guys out of order, Robby and Jillian. Robby and Jillian Abney will be joining us in just a second. Robert Taylor, Lori Hotung, Anna, Samantha Dart, Miranda Gerber, Beth Gentry, Tracy and Michael and Draco. Finally, there they come up. Kraus Mouse Adventures, Larry Fine, Chris from Cambridge, Amy Denholtz Lewandowski, of course, our good friend Karen Shelton, Andrea Cobb, on to page 2. Lauren Porter, Karen Phillips, Amy Yee, and rounding it out with Adventures in Mousecapades. I apologize. Some of those were not in the right tier orders. It was apparently sorted by whether you pledged monthly or annually. But we appreciate and love all of you. And if you want to hear your name read on the air at the top of one of our shows, then head over to patreon.com and show your support today. With that, Sam, get us to our guests.
Okay, so we got to hit some news first before we introduce our amazing guests. And of course, I'm wearing my Avengers bomber jacket in honor of our amazing guests today. But we got to hit some quick news. There are 2 pieces of news I want to bring up. One has to do with the Wish. So last Friday night, after we wrapped our live show, we got a text message from our friend Chad Pennycoff over at the My DVC Points podcast. He was on board the Wish, and there were droids inside the hyperspace lounge on the Disney Wish. According to the executive, it's executive cruise director, who I think manages the cruise directors. The droids are only in hyperspace lounge or in the cargo bay because, of course, they only exist in the world of Star Wars. So you can find them at least on board the Disney Wish in those 2 places. We don't know when they make appearances. I'm not sure, how often this is going to happen. It just started on Friday night, but apparently this is going to be a thing. We've seen those droids in around the parks a little bit, and so there is at least 1 droid. I don't know if there are more on board the Disney Wish, but super exciting news. It might be a reason to book the Disney Wish. I'm just going to put it out there. Okay, second piece of news.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know. It's pretty cool. Second piece of news is the Disney Adventure. The Disney Adventure has mostly crossed the Atlantic Ocean. She's on her way to Freeport, Bahamas. I believe that she ports in Freeport on Thursday, and then she will be heading to Port Canaveral on Friday. So on January 15th is when she initially ports in Port Canaveral. It sounds like she's going to be going out for some 1 day out and back, and then maybe a 4-day out and back. From what we have heard, there were originally supposed to be cast member previews. We heard those got canceled. So we don't know exactly what she's going to be doing, but before she heads for her Panama Canal crossing, she's going to be sailing a bit out of Port Canaveral. So I do know a few folks who are down in Florida right now. I'm looking at you, Tracy, who are probably going to go down there as our roving reporters and try and get some photos or some video of the adventure porting in Port Canaveral. And so hopefully we'll have some more news for you on Friday over on our socials. But until then, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what's happening with the adventure.
It will be an adventure. All right, Sam, get us to our
Okay. Yeah, we're super excited to have our 2 guests back on the show. It's been a while since we've had them because it's been a little while since they cruised on Disney Cruise Line, but we've got to welcome to the show previous guests and friends of the show, Robby and Jillian Abney, who are also Patreons. Welcome back, you guys.
We're so excited. Yeah, it's been 3 years. Crazy.
Oh, that's ridiculous. And I know you said this is like a date night for you guys. I'm really excited that you chose to spend your date night with us. You sent the kids over to your sister's house, Jillian. And so we've got your undivided attention. You guys, let's tell folks who didn't watch our previous episode with you all, your backgrounds with Disney, because you're both former Disney I was going to say cast members, characters kind of as well.
They're both characters too.
They're both characters. But Jillian, let's start with you, your Disney background for our audience.
Yes. So the fun fact is that's how we met. So I do get to joke and say that I really got to marry real life Prince Charming, Captain America, whatever you want. Fill in the blank. But that's how we met.
Eugene Herbert.
No, 12 years ago. We've been married now for almost 10, but about 12 years ago, we shared him 10 years, me 5 years at the Disneyland Resort. So I grew up as a dancer, so I got to do a lot of different things seasonally, different parades, shows, whatever popped up for that season I got to do. And it was the best season of our lives. It was amazing.
Robby, you were never friends with Captain Jack Sparrow, correct?
He wishes.
Never. I wish. I think I was a little too tall for the captain.
Too tall and too sober, probably, but yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I was with Disney for almost 10 years. Started in the electrical parade long time ago. That's really dating myself. And then I just went from I did parades, and then Fantasmic was always a bucket list show for me. So I spent a lot of time on the island. Tokyo Disneyland changed my life. I got to take her back in 2019 to Tokyo. Best place in the world. Not even Disney. I think it's the best Disney resort. It's the best place in the world, in my opinion. So Japan was amazing. And then cruise line, which we'll really get into, altered my life in so many ways. I got to do some really fun projects with Walt Disney Imagineering. That is some very treasured memories for me. So Walt Disney Imagineering was incredible. And we'll get into stories of all the characters I got to play and people I got to meet. So it was just the adventure of a lifetime for sure.
Absolutely. Brian, we can't hear you. Are you on mute?
You can't hear me? What? Can you hear
there
me?
You
now?
are.
Turn my headphones up. Before we get into the substance of this show, there have already been a number of requests for just one thing, Robby. Just one thing.
I got it. I'm ready.
They want the smolder, buddy.
I know.
Oh boy.
But may I just say something? Hi.
For those of you listening to this show after the fact, you have just lost just like that. If I could make that the intro, I would do the intro with that. But you've got to come watch the video just for that. So there you go. For all those who asked for in the chat, you got what you asked for. There you go.
Yep. Love this smolder. Listen, Jillian gets that every day, ladies.
Yeah, when Sam does some goofy dancing and stuff, I'm always like, she's taken, gentlemen, she's taken.
I mean, I can't help that I have an awesome electric slide, What?
The Roger Rabbit. If you haven't seen her do the Roger Rabbit. All right.
Rabbit.
So you said Disney Cruise Line changed your life. How many cruises have you two been on now? And as I understand, this was the first cruise for your kids. So everything up until now has been just the two of you. So how many cruises have you been on?
I'll start. Well, that's the joke, is that I've been platinum for about 15 years because we started cruising in the early 2000s. He's still gold, even though as a cast member, he's worked significantly more cruises than any of us. So it's always a joke where it's like, oh, your little gold lanyard. We have our black lanyard.
Oh, no, she always says, I'll pay for your Palo. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about it.
I love that.
Growing up in California, did Disneyland a whole bunch. But as it seems probably a lot of dads don't enjoy Disneyland as much as their kids. And so once we found Disney Cruise Line as a child, my dad was like, this I want to do. So we cruised every year, at least once a year, since I was about 8 years old. And then once we got married, we've cruised together 4 times.
5.
But this was the first time with kids. So going 20 plus cruises on Disney Cruise Line as an adult only, or even like a teen, you kind of get to do whatever you want at that point. And then bringing the kids on was a wildly different but equally amazing experience. It was so fun.
Yeah. Now, your kids are 5 and 2, right? Rory's 5 and Lily's 2. Okay, so you guys waited. You didn't take them you didn't take Rory as a baby when you waited till Lily was 2 to take her. What did you think about in terms of deciding when was the right time for their first cruise? Like, you guys had a lot of experience on the cruise line as adults, as a cast member, as, a childless couple. Like, how did you decide, okay, now we're ready to take the plunge into Disney Cruise Line?
I think it was a lot of I saw Rory and I knew it was going to be not only memorable, but that I knew he was going to do so well. I think Lily Jo is a very strong, like at 2.5, very strong opinions, and she can hang. But like the idea of like Rory meeting Captain America and how well he does with characters, I was like, this is a no-brainer. I think this is the time because I think he'll remember this cruise. Not that you don't do things like you don't go to Disneyland because your kid's too young because they're not going to remember it. I don't agree with that. I think Rory is just going to be able to talk about, he calls it the Mickey boat. I think he's going to be able to talk about the people he met on the Mickey boat and like the things he did in the kids club, like years down the road. Mm-hmm. And that's what I thought. This is the best time to go.
I always like to say, like, they may not, like, the way to think about it isn't whether they're going to keep the memory or not. The way to think about it is, are you making a memory about them that you want to keep? So like if you're going to take your kids when they're too young, yes, they're not going to like be, 22 and telling stories about that time they went to Disneyland when they were, a year old, but you will have that memory and you will have those photos and you will have those moments. And so, I fully agree.
To be honest, we would have done it sooner because that's what we enjoy. But as you know, with young kids, you pick and choose your vacations. Because we still have friends who are cast members at Disneyland, that's a little more financially feasible for us. Yeah. So we did a couple of those in between, and we actually booked this cruise 20 months in advance. So we knew for a long time that this trip was coming. And I think it just fell at these particular ages. If we could financially afford it, we would cruise a lot. But
the other consideration with kids on the cruise line, right, is like, are the nursery age versus Oceaneers Club age, right? Like you do, I don't want to say you lose the benefit because, people can make their own choices. But, if you're looking to have that cruise where it's like, we're going to reconnect as a couple and our kid's going to be in the kids club. Well, not if they're under the age of, Sam can quote it for me, 5, I think it is, and potty trained.
No, it's 3. So 3 and older, if you're potty trained, can be in the Oceaneers Club. So 3 to 10 is Oceaneers Club. Under 3, or actually 3 and under, I should say, because if they're 3 but they're not potty trained, they go to the nursery. And the youngest you can go on the cruise line as a baby is actually 6 months. In some cruises, it's actually a year old, just depending upon the itinerary. The longer itineraries, like transatlantic, Panama Canal, where they have a long time where you're at sea and you're not near port, they require the child to be at least 1 year old, actually, not 6 months. And that has to do with the medical equipment on board. They also have restrictions. Jillian, we have to say on the air, congratulations. You guys are pregnant with baby number 3. So you also sailed while pregnant. And of course, you had to sail.
Sam, they weren't telling anyone yet.
Right.
We're week 29. Now we're like, guess what?
They sailed us.
When we booked this cruise way back when, and we were family planning, we said, okay, for me to be able to go on this cruise, there were logistics involved. And so we made sure that happened. And so when I left the cruise ship, when we disembarked, I was 23 weeks and 4 days. So
yeah. Because the same reason why you can't have the younger baby and also why you can't be more than 24 weeks pregnant is because they don't have the medical equipment on board for a newborn infant. And so they don't want to have that happen. They don't want you to have a baby on board the ship.
This is a question I have. Did that change anything that you had to fill out on the pre-booking or the pre-boarding questionnaire? And did that prompt anything? Did like the doctor come out to just, say, hey, what's going on? And
or let me see proof of how many weeks you are. Or anything.
Yeah.
Yes. So I had done some research. The only thing that popped up, I'm pretty sure for everyone, is there anyone in your party that will be beyond 24 weeks? I don't know if that's popped up for you guys as well. Once you click no, I really think it's an honor system. I covered myself and made sure I had a doctor's note from my doctor. But from what I had heard, it's based on if they think you look pregnant or not.
That's dangerous.
I know it is dangerous. It is. It's very dangerous. But I made sure I had my doctor's note. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, so let's dive in.
I should say lots of congratulations rolling through the chat for you. So
yes, lots of congratulations in the chat, of course, popping up. And, first it was the smolder, now it's the congratulations. It's just the chat, the tone of the chat changes as we go along. We got to dive in and talk about who else sailed with you, because, of course, the two of you and your 2 kids sailed with you So 5 and 2-year-old, as I mentioned, but you also had some other family sailing with you as well. Is that right?
Yeah. So we booked this February of last year, and we just put it out to our family. We have a big family here in Texas, and we just said, here are the dates. It was a really good deal. It was out of Galveston, which is like a 5-hour drive for us. I told Wes on the DCL Dude podcast, I said, I'm going to be Mr. Galveston because I want to cruise out of Galveston year round so badly. I'm going to shout it from the mountaintops.
I
I
love
was
it.
like, guys, we're 5 hours away. It's so easy to get in and out. And our whole family just said, we're in. So in total of our direct family, there's 14 of us. And then a family of 4 who are her parents' really good friends when we lived in California. They're like, we're coming. So we went to 18. And then about 6 weeks before, our really good friends from California said, hey, guess what? We're coming too. So there was 22 of us total.
Oh,
Oh my
wow.
goodness.
Yeah.
Now, logistically, did you like try and coordinate everything with everybody, or was it kind of every man for themselves? Like, what did you do for like, let's say dining, like pre-planning? Because 22 people, you can't fit that many people at a table. You can only fit, I believe it's 11 or 12, maybe I think it's 12 at a table in the dining room. But that's even a lot. I'll be honest. I actually don't really like to be at a table more than like 10 because your service gets quite slow. But how did you guys navigate that with such a large group of people?
The good news is because overall everyone had cruised at least once, and most of the group a lot more than that. So we all in advance said, hey, here's our expectations. My sister has their kids. We have our kids. The grandparents each have their grandkids that they're directly related to. We said that takes priority. If we happen to be doing things together, great. And if we don't, great. And I think we spent way more time together than we had anticipated in a really positive way, because we just ended up all wanting to be at the pool deck together or the character meet and greets or fill in the blank. So they had us at 2 11 top tables right next to each other.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah. And I think that's a perfect expectation because you really can't possibly do everything with everyone. We always, when we were just sailing with like a couple of other families, we try to say like, hey, we all get together for dinner and then everything else is choose your own adventure. Like if you want to do things together, that's great. But like, we can't have an expectation that we're all together all the time because it's just impossible to coordinate when you've got, especially with kids of different ages and grandparents who want to spend time with the kids.
What was the stateroom situation on board? Like, were you guys all trying to get staterooms near each other, or did you just book wherever or whatever people wanted?
So because of when we booked, we had a pretty good selection. We booked her sister and her brother and my brother-in-law. We booked our rooms together. Then the grandparents were together. One, like, I don't know, eight doors down. So we're all on deck 6.
Mm-hmm.
We're all on deck 6 forward, about 6 rooms apart. So we were next to each other from her sister and I, and then the grandparents were like eight doors down.
Awesome.
Nice.
All right.
It actually made it really easy to like go down to, Papa's room and go play in their porthole or something.
I love it. All right. We got to start with preparing the kids for the cruise. Like, did you show them, I mean, they'd been to Disneyland, but did you show them any videos or maybe pictures, I don't know, of dad as a character or something, right? Like, did you show them anything, or were you like, well, they've been to the parks and they're, some kids are easier at sort of adjusting to new environments, but some kids are not. Like, how did you guys sort of prepare?
We unapologetically brainwash our children with Disney content. And that is not untrue. And we're more like parks and cruise fans. So yes, they love the movies, but we watch the parades. We watch the stage shows. Like, that's just what we do for fun. So we were really excited to show them about the ship. And I think as kids get older, the surprise factor might be better. But with toddlers, I wanted them to have some familiarity of what they were looking at and what they were looking forward to. I also don't have a blown up picture of Robby as Captain America in Rory's room.
I can go get it if you want.
He's very aware.
I'll go get it.
No, stop.
I want an oil painting over the mantle with like a pose, like
No, it's gotta be that pose or like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think, and you guys might know this, as a 5-year-old,
I don't know if this is gonna fit in the picture.
Oh boy, there it doesn't really.
oh my good Lord.
Oh my God, I love that.
All that
Should I put it right here? Does that work?
Yeah.
Robbie, when do I get mine?
All that to say, not all superhero content is appropriate for 5-year-olds. So I think a lot of what Rory knows about Captain America is stuff we've shown him, and I wanted him to be excited. So I brought his suit, told him that we were going to meet Captain America, and he was very excited about that. So yes, we absolutely prepared them. YouTube, pictures, all the things.
Yeah. By the way, just once again, for those listening at home later, you just missed epic artwork. Head over to YouTube. That's all I can say.
I will say, yeah, Nathan has now at age 12 has seen quite a few. Not all, like I wouldn't say he's watched that many of the Marvel movies, but he's seen a couple of them, or he's seen enough pieces of various Marvel movies to know who like the main superheroes are. And of course, like obviously Captain America is my favorite, and so Captain America has to be Nathan's favorite. But like he doesn't know all the storylines, and you're right, like the content is not quite yet appropriate for a 2.5-year-old and a 5-year-old. So yeah, it makes sense.
You're going to say the content wasn't appropriate for Nathan. I was like, oh God.
No.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
I mean, some of it is a little bit over his head as well. And there's quite a bit of violence in a lot of the Avenger movies.
I just showed him Pearl Harbor.
I know. Nathan is now he's in his war movie era now. So we are,
It
you
comes
guys
back after you're 40 too. You want to do is watch World War II movies. But yeah.
You guys are in your Disney parent era. And now Nathan is in his war movie era. So we've just introduced him to war movies and heist movies and things like that. So he's now discovering a whole new world of movies that are not animated. So, but let's jump into, okay, you get to the Mickey boat, you get to Galveston, you see the Mickey boat in the distance or as you're nearing it. What's the reaction of the kids? Did Lily Jo even notice it? Did Rory even notice it? Like
right away. It was a moment I'll never forget. Rory screamed, "Mickey boat!" And I was like, "Yep, all right. When's the next one?"
I do that too. Is that okay for adults?
It was so worth it. And Lily Jo, she's a smart cookie, so she totally got it. She knew we were going on. Like she was like, but her timetable is, I see it, I want it now. So like, why aren't we getting on it right this very second?
Right.
So
that boarding process, not so easy for toddlers, right? Like there's the boat. Here I am. Why am I not on the boat yet? Yeah, yes. Absolutely. Yeah.
But
all right.
Yeah, that moment, I was like, we got close enough where he could get a straight shot of it. It was amazing.
Oh, I love that. All right, well, let's talk about getting onto the ship. Then we'll jump through the boarding process. Everybody's heard about that process, right? What were their first reaction when you walk on and you're, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome aboard the Abney family, and then everybody's clapping? And is there a character on the staircase in the atrium? Like, what was that like?
I was really hoping there would have been, because they're very character-centered children, but there was not, unfortunately. But I think they were, when kids see something really big and overwhelming, they were into it, but almost taking it in. So it took them a few minutes to take it in, but we did make sure, since this was our first time with kids, we studied up and we were like, okay, we get in the atrium, we get announced, we enjoyed that moment, let's go to the kids club. So that was the first time we ever got to do that, and that little boy in that Andy's room slide was in hog heaven. He was so happy. So that was really cool, all these years of going on the cruise line, imagining what's it going to be like to take our kids, and to see him just thrive was the best.
Oh, yeah. I love that. That's super smart too, because it's like introducing them there first, so that if you do want to see how they do by checking them in once the secure programming is open. It's like not a, it's not a brand new space. They've seen it before. They meet the counselors, they see the counselors' uniforms, right? I think even just those little things of like them knowing like, okay, who are the trusted adults in this room? Like, what do the rooms look like? That's like super, super important.
But here's the real question. Rubber meets the road. Are they kids club kids, or are they like...
Well, and then, we had, of course, it's a Small World nursery, though, for Lily Joe. So I assume
she wants
out.
to be a kids club kid. She's the youngest of the 5 cousins, and we made sure she was potty trained before we went because we wanted to all swim together. And she was very confused why she couldn't do what all of her older cousins were doing. But she thrived in the kids club, and we even heard from her after our Apollo, which I know we'll talk about, that Pluto came and hung out with them. So she had a great time.
Oh, love that. Yeah. So how did Rory do in the Oceaneer Club then?
He was amazing. I'm not just saying it was great because we're on this. Like, he did so well. I wanted him to go in there, and it wasn't like, Dad, leave me alone. He was just excited to be where he was. So when I took him out, he was having fun. When I said, "Hey, buddy, do you want to go to the kids club?" And he screamed for joy. So he really did well in there. And then when we left, there were some times he like, "No, Dad, I don't want to leave." Yeah. Most of the time he was excited because I was like, "We're going to go here." And he was excited to go. So
we got so used to Nathan being on this, like, okay, we go, like, we put him in, and predictably about an hour, 90 minutes in, he'd like want to come out. So we'd go down, after an hour, 90 minutes, and be like, okay, I'm here to check him out. And then we had the switch that flipped. And at some point he was like, "Can I stay for another hour?" Like, sure. Right. And then we come back and be like, "Can I stay for another hour?" We're like, why don't we find a reasonable time that you want to exit the kids club so I don't have to keep coming down here? But that was a huge switch that flipped for him at some point. Yeah.
It also worked out that we were with the cousins and then our really good friends who also have young ones. They wanted to go, and so that helped him want to stay. So if you ever get to cruise with other kids, that he did want to go, but it helped that they also wanted to go.
It is a curse that we have because Nathan is an only child. If he doesn't make a friend, it's far less fun for him. But if we're sailing with other listeners or friends who have kids his age, it's like, bam, done. Like, you got a friend, instant play friend, and he's off to the clubs. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I gotta ask, what were some favorite activities that you guys got to do as a family on board? And were they like any of the activities that you guys like to do when, before sailing with kids, or has it changed like significantly, the things that you do on board a cruise?
First thing that comes to mind, which I did not think I was going to say, was going to the shows together. So when my kids sit in church, I don't even try and sit my kids in church because I know they're going to want to get up and run around. Right. So when going to the show, I'm like, okay, I'll sit on the aisle. I'll have a good exit strategy. Always have an exit strategy, right? So I was very prepared to like pick up and go. I sat Rory as close as I physically possibly could because I was like, this is my best chance. If I get him close enough, he'll get drawn in and then he'll stay. He watched every show, did not move, and clapped between scenes. I was like, "Oh, honey, it's happening."
It's in his blood.
He's a theater kid. I mean, Mom still does theater, right? So
and probably picked up every piece of Mickey-shaped glitter he could find.
Bubbles and dreams, Elsa and the snow. Like, it was so all the 3D projections. That was one highlight because we got to do it as a family. All 4 of us went, and they sat, and it wasn't like you're just handing them off to each other like it normally is. Like, okay, you want to go to Mom? Oh, coming back to me. Like, they just sat and enjoyed it. It was great.
Right.
I'm curious to go to the other end of the spectrum for 1 second. How are the grandparents? Do the grandparents have a good time on the Disney cruise? Because we talked about Disney being kind of a good multi-generational cruise line, but did they have fun?
Honestly, we saw them way less than I thought. They were off. My mom wanted me to plug this. She won the big grand finale bingo.
Oh, nice.
So, that was a huge highlight for them. My
dad
she
paid for her cruise, basically.
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, and some.
Oh shoot. Got a little But yes, they had a blast every night. They all went to Keys, all the grandparents, because the parents had to go to the room because the kids had to go to sleep. All the grandparents were going out at night. They were in the spa. I'm pretty sure my dad got 3 massages over our 5-day cruise.
I think he got a facial too.
I feel seen. I feel seen.
I gotta say, the Disney grandparent era sounds better than the Disney parent era that we're all living in.
We did not see them as much as I thought, and I was loving it. Like, go live your dream.
Yeah.
Like,
I would say, though, the biggest glaring difference between how we normally function on adult cruises and this one, we spent most times on most cruises hanging by the adult pool, Cove Cafe, all of the luxuriating moments. I spent a lot of time in that family pool watching Funnel Vision, which ended up being such a highlight because we all could do it. Yeah. And like I said, Lily Jo was potty trained weeks before strategically. And we would all the family would pop in. We would go get ice cream. We would go get lunch. We would meet back up. And so that was something. Yes. Rory rode the twist and spout over and over and over and over. So that was something that I had never experienced, but enjoyed, honestly, just as much, just in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a great point, though, to bring up about the potty training. I think a lot of people don't realize that this is true across all of the cruise lines. This is not unique to Disney. But if you are not, if you are a diapered individual, whether you are an adult or a child, you are not allowed in the pools on a cruise ship. On Disney Cruise Line, the only area that you can go if you're a diapered individual and you still have to be a young individual, like a toddler, is the splash pad. And so if you want your kids to be able to go in the pool, they have to be potty trained. And if you are an adult that is unfortunately cannot toilet themselves for whatever reason, you aren't going to be allowed to go in the pools on any cruise line. Like I said, it's CDC rules. I believe it's not unique to Disney Cruise Line, but that's a reason. If you can potty train early, my goodness, 2.5, that's pretty good, you guys. Like, I mean, she is a girl,
motivation.
Yeah, but she is a girl, but like that's pretty amazing. So kudos to you all. But that was smart, because otherwise you would have been stuck one of you would have been stuck at the splash pad the whole time, kind of just standing there with Lily Jo, while the others in the pool or the water slides with Rory. Yeah, which is always hard.
Something I didn't know, and because I really didn't spend a lot of time in the family pool, is they'll take, like, it seems like pee breaks, where they'll just like, all right, everyone out. It's very intentional. Like, go get dry, clean, really go take your kids to the bathroom. Yeah. And so, but they're very good about, and everyone was very, all right, we got out, we waited 5 minutes, we got back in, and we just did it for hours. And yeah.
I remember Nathan getting out, like, do you need to use the bathroom? Nope. You would like go get in line at the rope waiting for the pool to reopen.
I never knew that. And so before I had kids, I was like, wait, is this like adult time? I don't know. Why are we breaking? Oh, makes sense.
I have to tell you, I never, that like has never occurred to me. Like, you just saying that for the first time now, it never occurred to me that would be the reason to get everybody out of the pool, to make the kids go to the bathroom. Like, but it totally makes sense. It just,
it's get them to go to the bathroom, make sure they've eaten something. Do you know where your kids are?
They check the levels of the the chemicals in the pool and stuff as well.
I don't know if they put, a lot of the cruise ships just use the salt water as the, yeah.
They do put some cleaner stuff in with the salt water, I believe.
But Sam, I watched the lifeguard during one of the transitions. He didn't touch the water. And I was like, maybe you do it every other time. But I was like, I watched you for 10 minutes. You didn't do anything to the water.
Oh, you're right then. It's probably just a potty break. Make sure they're not, because you're right. Like, kids who are in the pool for hours and hours, like, they're peeing in that pool. Like, that's just what's happening. That's what's happening.
We do have a question in the chat. Robby Jillian, when was this cruise specifically? Like, and then how was the weather overall on the cruise? Someone's commenting that they went on in mid-November out of Galveston. It was just too cold to swim. So I'm curious how the weather was for you.
Mm-hmm. So when we chatted with you guys 3 years ago, it was this exact itinerary in January over New Year. So it was a very similar time of year. So I expected it to be similar to our previous experience, which was freezing in Galveston, cool on the first sea day, really warm once you hit Mexico, which is exactly our experience. So the first sea day, we didn't swim. And then the 3 days that you were more in the Gulf were really warm and really beautiful. And so we took full advantage of that. And then the sailing day back got cool again.
It rained a little bit.
And then we weren't. So we were in the pool 3 of the 5 days.
Yeah.
And this was it was a very merry time. I should have said that. So it was the day after Thanksgiving we boarded, and then it was a 5-day cruise.
Awesome.
What did you mention? The grandparents were off having a lovely time in the evening. Did you guys get a night together? Because sometimes staying with the grandparents is kind of nice. You can, you can do a Palo dinner or something, just the two of you. Did you guys get a night to just go experience some of the adult stuff on board?
So I got to do something for myself. I went to the bourbon tasting the first night, and with
I'd
my
ask you
brother.
about it, but having done it, I know you won't remember.
Well, what's really cool is right up on my shelf up there, I have one of the bourbons that I got on the cruise. My mom got it for me for Christmas because I loved it that much. I came home saying, have you ever heard of Yellowstone? Like, not the show, the bourbon. And she surprised me with it for Christmas because I was raving how great it was. It was selfishly for me one of my highlights because it was the first night. I love Cove Cafe. There was only about, 16 of us there. So it seemed really intimate. And I think the guy, his name was Trevor, the guy who led it, he went over for sure. Like, we were there for at least an hour and a half. We had 5 bourbons and then an old fashioned of what I loved about it was all the bourbons weren't your regular. Well, I love Buffalo Trace, but there was not a Knob Creek or Buffalo Trace or like Bullet or anything like that. It was things you've not really tried. And my brother Ryan and I, we loved it.
If you really liked it, I would say 2 tastings that you need to try next. One is get on a Wish class ship and do the old-fashioned tasting in Hook. So it's very small, very hard to get into, but he makes a bunch of, or whoever is doing it, makes a bunch of different old-fashions, including like some with Scotch whiskey, some with Japanese whiskey. I think he even made one with like a tequila, which is really fun to see. And then the whiskey tasting as opposed to the bourbon tasting, that's when they bring out some of like the, again, the Japanese whiskeys, the scotches, some of like the rarer stuff they have on board. That one could be a lot of fun. But as our friend Chad messaged us recently about drink tastings, the reason I don't do them anymore is because I just feel like I feel so trashed after leaving an hour and a half of that stuff. Yeah.
Jillian could tell you about the mixology class we did and how memorable that was.
So there's 2 things that stand out that we were able to do with the kiddos that were really special adult time. One was the mixology, and of course, 20 months ago, I signed up. And then a few months ago, I took myself off the list and figured I'll just come and hang out. And so when we got to the door, my sister, brother-in-law, and Robby checked in. And I said, hey, I'd just love to just hang out if that's okay. If you have anything 0 proof, just a glass of something, I would love to just sip on it and hang out. They said, of course. We walked in. 10 minutes later, the amazing waitress brought me out an entire tray of 0 proof mixology cocktails that were almost identical to theirs on the fly. Did not give them any heads up on that. And then they just charged me the fee at the end. But I got to be a part of the whole experience. So I think that's great to know for anyone who doesn't drink for lots of different reasons. You can just ask.
But 0 proof is becoming so popular. I feel like they need to capitalize on this because I tried every one of them. They were fantastic.
Yeah.
So if it's
and there are so many 0 proof liquors now, right? Like substitute for a liquor that isn't just like a mocktail, right? But they have that tastes even more like a cocktail than a mocktail. And so it's really nice, the options that they have out there now.
I'm actually kind of surprised in adult dining they haven't come up with like a 0 proof, like instead of a wine pairing, like doing like, we'll do a 0 proof pairing for your dinner. I think that would just be such a great thing to add on board.
We had Aaron and Todd on the show, and they actually did that. They were not real happy with what they ended up getting. I think it was at Remy, but they did it. It was they did it as a pairing with a Remy. I can't remember if I think it was a brunch that they did, but regardless. Yeah, definitely a great option. All right. You also did Palo brunch. Is that right?
As seasoned cruisers, Palo's really not it's a non-negotiable at this point. So we planned way in advance. We kind of knew that pirate night tends to be obviously not your last night, but maybe night 3 or 4. So grandparents went to Palo dinner night 2 for dinner. Young parents went to dinner at Palo night 3. So grandparents did take the grandkids for dinner that night.
Pirate night dinner, not my favorite. So we always try and plan Palo on pirate night.
Yeah. And so we traded on that, and then we all planned ahead to do Palo brunch together on the last sea day. And so we booked the nursery for the littles and then the kids club for everyone else. So that was the one time we said, you are going to the kids club.
You had enough people. I think you had enough adults. Did you try to request the private room in Palo for your brunch?
My dad, he's now almost Pearl, and he thinks he's a professional, and we usually sail with a big group, and we usually go on the older ships where that's kind of your only option for a big table. So he has come to expect it. And I have to tell him, Dad, you don't just get the captain's table.
But we did get the captain's table every time.
We did.
Now, I got to tell folks, like, if you want this, if you have a larger party and you have a bunch of adults that you can, usually it's a minimum of 8, and I think it's a maximum of like 12 or maybe 14. They might be able on the older ships fit 14 in the room, but you've got to make that request in advance. You can do it if you're sailing concierge. The concierge team will do that request for you. If you're not sailing concierge, you've got to call Disney Cruise Line, and they'll make you fill out a form, and you can put in that request. And it is one of those things where they won't tell you for sure if you got it until like shortly before your cruise or even when you're on board, but they'll usually help you with getting multiple reservations if you're unable to get that private room. So it's definitely something you can do. But yeah, moral of the story, according to Ed in the chat, name drop Jillian's dad at Palo. I love that.
Or you name drop Haristo, who has been our waiter on the Wonder and the Magic at Palo for years and years and years. And we just happened to be able to get him again. And it was like seeing family. So shout out to Haristo, who I'm pretty sure hooked it up.
How is the Magic overall? Because we've had some mixed reviews of late about the Disney Magic, that she's showing her age just a little too much these days. How is it overall for you on the sailing?
I mean, if you look close enough, you can find it. I think the atrium is got some wear and tear.
It did not affect our cruise
whatsoever. But I think if you're looking for it, you can find it.
We also have not, being now based in Texas and having kids, made our way to Florida to get on any of the new ships. So we've only done the 4, I'm going to call them originals. So we are praying that the rumors are true and that they'll send one of the new ships to Galveston more regularly so that we can get on one of them. But really, for me, if I'm on a Disney cruise, I am happy, 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 happy. So I had no complaints about the Magic in terms of issues or anything.
Well, I think your wish may come true, and I think it may be a wish that is what comes to Galveston. So
Hooks Barbary, here I come.
I'm gonna send you a bag. All I need you to do is grab the droid and run. All right, that's all.
Yes. Now that the droid is in Hyperspace Lounge, no, but I mean, the wish, we know, even though Disney hasn't announced it, the wish is going over to Europe in 2027. We know that from the calendar. We also know that from various port schedules in Europe that have said the wish is on their schedule. But after she comes back from her summer in Europe, they have not said what she's going to be doing. And I'm not saying like I don't have any inside information on this, but I would not be surprised if, because there will be more Wish class ships now in the fleet between the Wish, Treasure, Destiny, and then the 4th Wish class ship, which comes out in 2027. It would not surprise me that when that ship comes out, that maybe the Wish would switch itineraries, and whatever ship that is, that new ship might take over that 3-4 night itinerary out of Port Canaveral, because they'd like to keep a new ship over there. So yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility. We won't know, I think, until the next itinerary release, when we see what the other ships are doing, or maybe 2 itinerary releases, frankly. All right, well, I want to talk characters, because One of the things, of course, Robby, that is near and dear to you is playing characters on board Disney Cruise Line. And of course, your kids got to meet some of their favorite characters on board. You mentioned Rory dressing up like Captain America. I got to understand what that moment was like when you get to introduce Rory to your successor on Disney Cruise Line, Captain America.
I first have to say, my friend Sierra listened to the podcast I did with Wes, the DCL dude, and she was like, "Why didn't Robby tell him who he was?" So Sierra, this is for you. I was the very first Captain America on Disney Cruise Line,
or in general.
In general.
I mentioned on our show last week that you are actually, when you see posters of Captain America for like Marvel Day at Sea and things like that all of that, those like brochures, the stuff on the website, like you are probably looking at Robby Abney when you're seeing those photos of Captain America in uniform.
Most likely, yes.
So you could say, Robby, you were the first Disney Cruise Line Avenger?
The first Avenger. The first Disney Cruise Line Avenger.
Avenger. And does 100%. So meeting Cap was top of my list. Had to. And I thought Rory might have been afraid. That's overwhelming. He's got a shield in his room above his bed. So I thought it might be too much too soon. And so I was kind of prepping for that. We were waiting in line. We were like the 9th or 10th guest. So he had some time to see him and he looked a little afraid. And so I was like, whatever happens, happens. We get to the front. The Cap was awesome. He walks up to us and just takes out his hand. Rory takes his hand. I'm like, oh, don't move. Don't do anything. So they walk up together in front of his backdrop and I stay behind and I just let it happen. I let it ride and they're just talking. You can't really hear him because he kneels down and is talking to him. And I'm like choking up, trying not to cry because this is such a big moment for me because it's to see my son meet the guy that is just done so much for me was amazing. And
in the same location
you did on the ship, all those years same ago. Location that I did so many years ago. And then I go up, I just shake his hand, and I really wanted to tell him what I said, and I actually said it. I said, I know you're the first Avenger, but I was the first Avenger on this cruise. And he didn't really get it at first. And then he looked at me again and it all came over. Oh, you are? He said, and he looked at his host he pointed to the host it's him! It's him! And so the Cap was very nice, and we got to do right before till we meet again the special meet and greet in D Lounge. He totally set that up for our stateroom, and he was so awesome for us. And that was one moment. I'm like, again, when are we stateroom? The placeholder is down. Here we go again.
Here we go again. I love it. Now, did Lily Jo enjoy meeting characters? Is she, she obviously has been to Disneyland, but yeah, did she enjoy meeting characters on board the ship? Is she in her princess era?
Now she is. And we didn't force it with either of the kids. A few times we went to Disneyland, I would say prior to 2 years old for both of them. They wanted to see them, but from afar. And I was totally fine with that. I was not going to be the shove my crying kid up. Sometimes you got to do that, but we have the luxury of going enough to where I wanted to.
You only do that with Santa. You don't have to do that with Disney characters.
You don't want to take a picture? I'm not going to force it. I've met too many kids where it's this kid does not want to stand next to me.
Yeah. Also didn't want to force the autographs. We really like it just to be an authentic moment. If the picture works out, great. If we don't want to take a picture, that's fine too. So we just went to Disneyland in September and she loved the characters. And so we were very excited. So yes, we did the princess gathering and all she wants to do is look at the pictures and talk about them. And yes, she has entered her princess era. I think the cruise helped with that a lot, but she was just precious. You can see in one of the pictures that we posted with Pirate Minnie, she was into the whole thing. So sweet.
Oh, I love that. Now, is it weird now, like with you two having both been cast members for Disney, is it like weird to kind of see the experience? Like, you know what's behind the curtain, right? Like, you know what's going on before these characters come out and meet, the guests. And is it weird, like experiencing that from the other side, like being the guest and you got to put on your like imagination cap and literally like to because what's does that kind of ruin the magic or does that make it more magical? I'm curious.
I think I'm more hypercritical when a moment is happening that you really have to like read the room and read the kid and the parent. And so I think as a Disney cast member, you have to get really good at that and know when to intervene and know when to take a step back. It's gas and brake to make that moment special. Sometimes I feel like it was like most of the interactions, sometimes the host is just all gas where they're like, they're the character. It almost feels like they're the character. And I wanted to say like, hey, I know that, Mickey might not be talking right now, but let them just interact, And if Mickey's confused and needs some help, you can chime in. But sometimes it felt like all gas, like, let me just interact for Mickey. Like, no, it's okay. So I feel like sometimes I feel like I get a little too critical and I just need to be in the moment. But most of the time, the interactions were special. The character totally drove the hug or the dance or the bow with so I think
two things on that. I think cruise line, which a lot of your listeners probably have experienced, you can continue a memory with the character. So you might meet Belle on day 1 and she'll remember you on day 5.
That's a good point.
And so that's unique to Disney Cruise Line compared to a park experience. And so loved that. And I think
Belle did say,
yes,
I remember you. That's right.
It was so sweet. And the other thing too, because we come from that world, we appreciate people who do it correctly. Yeah. I don't know if that's the right word, but genuinely, with care, with time. So it means a lot to us when we get that experience that we're hoping for, because we're kind of looking for it, I guess. But we had overall wildly positive, long interactions, sweet conversations. And now I'm bummed for all those parents out there. I should have just bought that dang picture package, because there was cute ones and then we had to pick, and we probably spent as much as we would have spent on the package. I never thought I would be that person. Here we are.
I love that you said this, Jillian, because I am a fan. So it's funny because we didn't always buy the picture package and now we're Pearl, so now we get it for free. But I actually have, but I'm a convert about the picture package. I actually think I think the unlimited picture package is one of the best deals if your kids will take pictures. If your kids are, I never want to take a picture, then yes, don't bother. But if you think you might take a few pictures here and there, you will end up taking more than you think you will. And those pictures, the unlimited picture package, you pay less if you buy it ahead of time. If you decide that you don't want any of the package, like you don't want any pictures, they will actually refund you, usually on board if you're really nice. If you ask really nicely to the folks at Shutters, if you pre-bought it and then you're like realize, oh, we didn't take any pictures, right? Like, or there's only like 5 pictures, so it's not really worth it, then they will usually refund you. I can't guarantee that, but if you're really nice to the cast members, they'll usually make it happen.
I also love the thread of you can continue the experience with the characters along the way. As Sam experienced, she insulted Donald on night 3, and he remembered her at Castaway Cay on the next day. So yes.
Absolutely. Oh, Ed is saying that it's not even discretionary. The refund is guaranteed. So that's great. But yeah, always get the picture package. I say if you think you'll take like even just a few pictures, because once you hit, I think like 10 pictures, like the 10 picture package costs like $10 less than the unlimited picture package. So once you're hitting like 20 or 30 pictures, you have actually like hit the unlimited picture package basically. And if you buy it ahead of time, it's cheaper than if you buy it on board. If you're Pearl, of course, you'll get it for free. So you don't need to do anything. You don't have to book it. It will just automatically be applied to your account. But yeah, and Ed is saying you just have to make sure you haven't downloaded any photos. So if you decide to get that refund, you can't have downloaded any photos. They will not refund because of course then you've already captured some of those photos. So some folks are saying, if I paid for the package, my kid's going to stand there for the photo. You do. I mean, I can only control my own kid, and he will do some pictures.
She didn't pay for the package, and I still have to stand there for the photo.
Yeah, so that's where this is going is, as Tracy mentioned in the chat, or your spouse. It's not just about making your kid stand for pictures. Sometimes it's about making your spouse pose for pictures, because we don't take a lot of pictures in our everyday life, right? And there isn't a photographer standing outside my front door to take a photo of the two of us or of us as a family. And a selfie is just not the same. So it's really nice when we can get those photos either at dinner or in front of the backdrops with characters, especially those magic shots. You know, we love those magic shots. Yeah, all of the things.
All right. Well, we have hit an hour. We are over an hour for our live show. So I need to take us out.
Forever.
I need to take us out. We could talk all night with the two of you. I have one final question, my favorite question to ask on the show, which is, what's next? Have you got something planned? Have you got something booked? Like, where are you headed next with Disney Cruising?
We have our placeholder, of course. We're very excited for this baby, but that puts about a year timeline before we have the baby, plus another 6 months. Plus, might want to wait a little bit longer. So we're hoping to do March of 27 out of Galveston. It'll be the magic still, but it just makes so much sense for us to jump in the car and drive rather than get on an airplane. So we haven't booked it, but it's in the works.
Yeah. I think March.
They have lots of stuff that you have to kind of schlep. So being in a car is a little bit easier than the airplane.
Yeah, so I think our placeholder's down. I think March or April of 27. We will be on the Magic, which is it's. I have to say it's shorter than the last time we booked.
Because a 5-person room is so expensive. That's okay.
More space
gets you every time, Jillian.
Every time.
Well, we will have to have you back after your next sailing. We'll hope it's not another, 3 years since we had you on last time? Good gosh. Well, hope it's not another 3 years. But, reach out. We'd love to have you back on. With that, I will just say we will be back next week. Regular time, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And Sam, if memory serves, we will have the incomparable Amy joining us.
Who we had on the show just a few months ago. We talked Disney Cruise Line etiquette. That was a fantastic show. Amy is a fantastic guest. She just sailed on the Destiny over Christmas. Of course, it was her first sailing on the Destiny. They had a Mickey and Minnie cabana at Castaway. We're going to talk some stuff about the Destiny. We're going to talk some stuff about Maritime, some stuff about relaxing, and some stuff, of course, about the cabana. So fantastic episode we'll have next week with Amy, who's, like I said, a great guest. And she's a former Planned Disney panelist. So she knows lots about cruise line and lots about Disney parks as well.
Yes. So with that, Robby, Jillian, thank you for spending some time with us this evening. Thank you to the audience out there for hilarious chat this evening. And I will once again put in a plug. If you're listening to this after the fact, please head over to YouTube. I'll channel Sam, like and subscribe. But head over to YouTube to watch, because there's some great stuff in there, from the smolder to the artwork. So head over there and give it a watch. Otherwise, good night, everyone out there. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.
See ya.